Arc Raiders drops you into a world where every noise matters, every mistake is punished, and every moment is a gamble between glory and disaster. Most players come unprepared and pay the price, but not you. Today, you're getting 101 field-tested tips that will change the way you play forever. Let's begin. 1. Before you even start playing Arc Raiders, you need to understand the fundamental loop of this game. This isn't a simple shooter where you charge forward and respawn endlessly. It's an extraction experience built on risk and reward. You drop into a dangerous zone, gather as much valuable loot as you can, avoid the machines and other players, and then fight your way to an extraction point to escape with everything you've earned. The key is survival, not kills. Once you understand that the real victory is getting out alive, every decision you make will improve dramatically. 2. Before you drop into Arc Raiders, make sure you actually know what you're there to do. Are you farming materials, completing a mission, upgrading your gear, or just grabbing a quick bit of loot and getting out? Having a clear purpose keeps you focused and stops you wandering the map like this poor lad here, just floating about with no plan whatsoever. A goal gives your run structure, helps you judge risk properly, and saves you from wasting time or your entire loadout on random distractions. 3. In Arc Raiders, loss is real. Anything you bring into the raid is a risk the moment you drop. If you die, it's gone. However, anything you successfully extract with becomes permanent progress. This system is what makes every encounter intense and meaningful. Before you play, think about this. Don't bring anything you're unwilling to lose, especially early on. Expect deaths. Expect setbacks. But also understand that the thrill of extracting with hard-earned loot is what makes this game so addictive. Learn to respect the risk and you'll stop making costly mistakes. 4. Before you ever load into your first raid, take a moment to learn the basic materials you'll be picking up. It will save you a lot of confusion later. The core ones you need to recognize straight away are scrap metal, plastic, and fabric, since you'll need it for bandages and other essentials. If you know these from the start, you won't waste time, loot faster, and make smarter choices. 5. Arc Raiders uses a clear rarity system that you'll want to understand from the very beginning. Grey items are common, basic gear with minimal benefits. Green is uncommon, offering slight improvements. Blue is rare with noticeably better stats. Purple represents epic quality, and yellow marks legendary items, which provide the strongest bonuses. As you progress, it's important to recognize these colors at a glance so you can prioritize what's worth picking up. Higher rarity often means better performance, but it also means higher risk if you lose it. 6. In the beginning, you're going to die a lot. That's normal in an extraction shooter. The trick is to adopt a budget run mentality. Use cheap gear, low value weapons and basic consumables while you're still learning. This protects your stash and your sanity. The goal isn't to win every fight, it's to gain experience without losing your best equipment. Once you're comfortable surviving and extracting consistently, that's when you start bringing your stronger kit. 7. Free loadouts are one of the most powerful beginner tools in Arc Raiders. They let you enter a raid without risking anything from your stash. Use them to explore the map, learn extraction routes, understand enemy behavior, and experiment with weapons. Death means nothing on a free run, so you can take risks and gather knowledge without fear. Players who improve the fastest are the ones who treat free loadouts like training rounds rather than throwaway runs. 8. Make use of the practice range, but remember it only unlocks after about 4 raids, so plan accordingly. Once it's available, treat it as your personal sandbox to master weapons, attachments and gadgets without risk. Test recoil, bullet drop, grenades, shields, movement shooting combos until it feels like second nature. By the time you step into real raids, you'll be confident and precise rather than hesitant and unprepared. 9. Every time you return to base at Speranza, don't skip your chicken friend, use Scrappy. He collects key crafting materials like metal parts, plastic, fabrics, rubber, chemicals, and assorted seeds while you're out on raids. Even a failed raid gives you basic materials, a clean extraction gives you more. As you upgrade Scrappy through the workshop, those rewards scale up. More materials per run, better resource flow for crafting, and less time manually farming scrap. 10. In Arc Raiders, every split second counts, and a wider field of view gives you the edge. Maxing out your FOV lets you spot enemies, drones and loot without constantly twisting the camera, giving you more awareness in every raid. It might feel a bit stretched at first, but once you get used to it, you'll notice threats and opportunities before other players even see them. For competitive raids, a maxed FOV isn't just a preference, it's a tactical advantage that can make the difference between escaping with your loot or ending up as someone else's prize. 11. Make sure you switch your audio to night mode. This setting emphasizes quieter, subtle sounds in the game, like footsteps, reloading, or movement around you. For example, I could hear someone creeping up behind me and take them out before they even knew I was there. Night mode lets you catch these little audio cues that would otherwise get lost in a normal sound mix, giving you a massive edge in survival and combat. It's a small change in settings that will make a huge difference in how you play. 12. One small tweak that can make a surprisingly big difference is changing your crosshair to a circle. In Arc Raiders, precision is everything, especially when you're dealing with moving targets or drones buzzing around you. A circular crosshair helps you keep track of enemies more accurately and makes headshots easier to land. It's subtle, but when every shot counts, having the right reticle can be the difference between scoring the kill or getting caught off guard. Take a minute in the settings and switch it over. You'll notice the improvement immediately. 13. Early on, focus on mastering a single dependable weapon before you start experimenting. I would recommend the Pharaoh. It's incredibly consistent, easy to control, and it absolutely melts targets. The Pharaoh one-shots the smaller arc units and deals heavy, penetrating damage to the larger ones, making it perfect for beginners and veterans alike. Once you get the rhythm of reloading in cover, it's a devastating weapon. Master one weapon first, preferably the Pharaoh, and you'll feel that confidence carry through every raid. 14. Don't bring gear you can't afford to lose. This is a golden rule in any extraction shooter. If losing it will ruin your night, don't bring it. High tier gear is only valuable if you can protect it, and beginners often take rare weapons into dangerous raids before they're ready. Only take your expensive equipment when you're confident, calm, and prepared. Your stash will last longer and your progress will be much smoother. 15. Before you jump in, take 30 seconds to look at the map layout. You don't need to memorize every detail, just get a sense of the extracts, the major points of interest, and the direction you'll be heading in. This tiny bit of preparation dramatically reduces confusion in your first few runs. You'll move more confidently, avoid dangerous zones, and understand the world far quicker than players who rush in blind. 16. In Arc Raiders, every map is divided into different danger zones, and learning this structure early on will save you a lot of pain. The outer areas are your low-risk zones, lighter arc patrols, simpler loot, and a good place to warm up or gather basic materials. Move further in and you hit the medium-risk zones, where the loot gets better but so do the enemies and the player traffic. And then you've got the high-risk, high-reward zones. These are packed with stronger arc units, tougher objectives, and players hunting for premium loot. Understanding which zone you're stepping into helps you plan smarter routes, avoid overcommitting, and picking fights that max your gear level. It's all about knowing when to push deeper and when to back off. 17. Each Arc Raiders map has a base difficulty, but you can choose events to make the run much more challenging. Pick an event like the electromagnetic storm ramps up enemy aggression and environmental hazards, but the trade-off is better loot. Zones with higher difficulty in events drop rarer materials, so if you're confident in your skills, this is a perfect way to maximize your haul. It's all about balancing risk versus reward. Harder maps and events give you more to gain, but one mistake can be costly. 18. When you're just starting out in Arc Raiders, stick to the outer edges of the map for your first few runs. These areas are generally less contested, giving you a chance to learn the layout, loot safely, and avoid early fights. It's a great way to build confidence, gather resources, and get used to movement and combat without being constantly hunted. Think of it as your training ground, safe, manageable, and still rewarding. 19. In Arc Raiders, when you're downed and in last stand, your team can still revive you. But once you die, that's it. There's no in-game buyback, you're completely out of the raid. This makes survival far more important than reckless fights. Treat every encounter carefully and don't risk your loot for a kill that might not be worth it. 20. In Arc Raiders, once you spend a skill point, it's permanent. The only way to reset them is to wipe your character completely with the expeditions, which erases all progress from your character. Definitely not something you want to do lightly. So, plan carefully and prioritize skills that suit your playstyle, whether that's stealth, combat, or mobility. Every point counts, so don't rush. 21. Every raid runs on a hard 30-minute match timer, and if you're still on the map when it hits 0, you'll lose your loot and your run ends abruptly. It's worth checking the timer as soon as you spawn. Sometimes you'll join a match that's already in progress with less time left, meaning you'll need to adjust your strategy. Knowing how much time remains helps you decide whether to loot aggressively or head straight for an extraction. Don't wait until the last minute. Plan your rotations and extractions around that 30-minute clock, because once it reaches 0, your run is over no matter where you are on the map. 22. One of the simplest but most effective movement tricks in Arc Raiders is holstering your weapon to gain extra sprint speed. Most new players just don't realise how much quicker you move with your hands free. That extra burst of pace can be the difference between winning a chase, escaping a bad fight, or simply rotating into a safer position before another squad cuts you off. It's not flashy, but mastering this one routine movement habit gives you an instant mobility advantage, especially in early fights where positioning matters most. 23. Sliding isn't just a stylish move, it's a serious tactical tool. It lets you move quickly without the loud footsteps that sprinting makes, and it conserves stamina for when you really need it, like dodging fire or escaping danger. Use it when approaching buildings, flanking enemies, or retreating under pressure. Smart sliding keeps you quiet, smooth, and ready to catch opponents completely off guard. 24. Stamina management can make or break your survival, especially outdoors. Running constantly will burn it fast, leaving you unable to sprint or dodge when it really counts. Sometimes the smartest move is to pause, let your stamina regenerate, and only then push forward. Timing your burst of speed ensures you can escape danger, climb safely, or outmaneuver enemies without getting caught off guard. 25. One of the deadliest mistakes beginners make is running across open ground without thinking about sightlines. Arc Raiders has snipers, drones, and opportunistic squads all waiting for easy picks. Before crossing any open area, stop for a second, scan your surroundings, and plan a route that keeps you close to cover. Walls, crates, cars, rooftops, anything that breaks a clear shot helps. Treat open ground as the danger zone it is, and you'll cut down so many unnecessary deaths simply by choosing safer paths. 26. Whenever possible, use vertical routes to move across the map. Rooftops, containers, catwalks, elevated ledges give you safer lines, more vision, and far fewer enemies to worry about. High ground lets you avoid choke points and gives you powerful angles for spotting other squads or patrolling machines long before they notice you. Even if it takes a few extra seconds getting up there, the tactical advantage is absolutely worth it. Experienced players will almost always travel above street level, and once you start doing it, your survival rate shoots up. 27. Ziplines aren't just fast travel, they're a risky move if you're not careful. On horizontal ziplines you can move both up and down, but your speed is slower, making you an easy target. Always scan the area before hopping on and consider whether taking the zipline is worth the exposure. Sometimes it's better to find a safer route than risk being caught mid-slide. 28. When using vertical zip lines, your direction is controlled by where you look. Looking up lets you climb, looking down lets you descend. Mastering this simple trick can save you from unnecessary fall damage or getting stuck mid-fight, and gives you more control when navigating tricky terrain. 29. When you're descending from height, whether you vaulted off a ledge or dropped from a platform, you can reduce or even negate fall damage by timing a dodge roll right as you land. Press your dodge or crouch input within the final half second before touching down, and your character will roll on impact, cancelling a lot of the damage that fall would normally cause. The timing window is tight, so practice it in safer areas until it feels natural. Use this technique not just to survive a drop, but to keep your momentum going and stay ready for whatever's waiting when you touch down. 30. Ledge grabbing is one of the safest ways to avoid fall damage. Anytime you drop past the ledge, hold the jump button and your character will automatically latch on, turning a dangerous fall into a safe climb. It works from fairly high drops as long as you're not falling at full speed. You can also use it to move sideways along ledges for safer repositioning. If you do miss the grab, follow up with a dodge roll on impact to soften the landing. Practice both together until the timing becomes automatic. They'll save your life more than once. 31. Using flashlights indoors or at night may seem helpful, but in this game they reveal your position instantly. Enemies with good line of sight will notice the light before they hear you. Reserve lights for absolutely necessary situations and turn them off if you think people are near. Players who learn to move with minimal light exposure can slip past patrols, ambush targets, and rotate through dangerous zones unseen. It's a simple trick that dramatically increases survival odds. 32. Move quietly indoors. Sound travels further in buildings than you think. Crouch walk to reduce your footsteps, avoid sprinting, and be mindful when opening containers or doors since they can give away your position. Pause often, listen for footsteps or mechanical noises, then move. Staying silent inside keeps you alive far more than you'd expect. 33. Crouching is massively important in this game because it does two things at once. It makes you almost silent, and it readily regenerates your stamina. Use crouch walking whenever you suspect someone is close, when you're setting up an ambush, or when you're navigating near arcs. It also tightens your weapon accuracy across the board, making every shot more reliable and stable, especially in those tense moments where one clean hit decides to fight. 34. Slide and roll combos are your best friend in high pressure situations. After taking fire, slide into cover, then roll to break line of sight and reposition unpredictably. This keeps enemies guessing and can save you from being downed in close quarters. Practice timing these moves in safer zones so they become instinctive during combat. Raiders who master slide roll sequences consistently survive fights that would overwhelm beginners, giving them a major advantage in both PvE and PvP encounters. 35. When you're looting or reviving, never leave yourself exposed. Step fully inside a room, close the door behind you, and use walls, crates, or corners to break line of sight. Closing doors isn't just for other players. It can actually slow down or completely block arcs, giving you a few precious seconds to finish what you're doing. The more you use the environment to shield yourself, the fewer easy angles you give away. Good cover turns risky moments into safe ones, letting you complete revives and loot without taking unnecessary hits. 36. Sound is one of your strongest tools. Drones make a distinct mechanical hum long before you see them, and player footsteps stand out clearly if you're paying attention. Be especially aware of the Rocketeer drone. Its presence can quickly turn a safe area into a deadly zone. Drones can also reveal the location of bombardiers, giving away their position before they even fire. If you react the moment you hear movement, whether slowing down, changing direction, or setting up an angle, you'll avoid ambushes and stay ahead of threats. Good audio awareness helps you survive longer and outplay both arcs and players. 37. Smoke grenades are incredibly versatile. Toss one when you need to retreat under fire, revive a teammate, or block enemy arcs from targeting you. The smoke obscures vision, breaks line of sight, and can even confuse drones for a few critical seconds. Timing and placement are key. A well-thrown smoke can turn a near-death situation into a clean escape, giving you breathing room to heal, reposition, or push forward safely. 38. Birds might look harmless, but in a raid they're little snitches. Get too close and they'll give away your position, staying overhead longer than you expect. That means enemies can spot you from afar or get suspicious. Keep an eye on them, move carefully, and use their presence as a cue to stay hidden or change direction. 39. Body scanners and cameras will alert arcs and other players to your position. You have two options: take them out quietly with your radar tool to stay stealthy, or leave them active and use the alert as a way to spot anyone sneaking nearby. Managing these devices carefully can give you both safety and a tactical advantage. 40. Keep checking the map and use color-coded waypoints to mark key locations for yourself and your team. This helps coordinate movement, avoid ambushes, and ensure everyone knows exactly where to go. A well-marked map can turn chaos into organized strategy, making extractions and engagements far smoother. 41. In any fight, your first thought should always be cover. Arc Raiders punishes players who expose themselves to open fire. Walls, crates, and terrain can block bullets, reduce damage, and buy you time to heal or reload. Beginners often rush fights without thinking about their positioning. Always identify the nearest cover before engaging and rotate between points to stay protected. Using cover effectively allows you to outlast enemies, dictate the pace of combat, and drastically improve your survival odds. 42. Peeking is one of the most underrated combat skills. Instead of stepping fully out of cover, quickly peek around corners to take shots while minimizing your exposure. This reduces the chance of being hit by returning fire, especially against ranged enemies. Practicing peak timing gives you a massive advantage in firefights and lets you control engagements without unnecessary risk. Skilled raiders use peaks constantly, combining them with crouches and slides to stay unpredictable while dealing damage. 43. Carrying a secondary weapon isn't just for backup, it keeps you effective in the heat of battle. Swap to your other gun instead of reloading to maintain pressure and stay unpredictable. Quick swaps let you adapt fast when shields drop or arcs close the gap, keeping you in control without missing a beat. 44. Not all loot is just for crafting. Some items are your lifeline in a pinch. Small consumables like fruit restore health, while arc power cells recharge your armor. Knowing which items heal what lets you stay in the fight longer and avoid risky retreats. Always check your inventory before engaging to make sure you have what you need to patch yourself up on the go. 45. Grenades and explosives are extremely powerful in this game, not just flashy toys, but serious tactical tools. Use them to flush enemies from cover, disrupt ARC patrols, or break enemy formations. Timing is critical. Throwing one too early can waste it or alert foes. A well-placed explosive can clear a room, open a path, or buy a few crucial seconds to heal or reposition. Mastering them separates casual players from those who consistently make it out alive. 46. When you break an enemy's shield, don't hesitate, push immediately to finish them off. You can actually see the shield expire as an electrical pulse, giving you a clear visual cue. Waiting too long lets them recover or reposition, which can turn a clean takedown into a fight you didn't want. Capitalizing on this moment is key to maintaining momentum and staying one step ahead. 47. Whenever possible, fight from high ground. Elevation gives you better sight lines, more time to react, and makes it harder for enemies to hit you. Even a small ledge or container can provide a shooting advantage. Beginners tend to stay at street level where they're more exposed. Controlling vertical space lets you dictate the fight, spot threats early, and rotate safely. High ground isn't just about vision, it's about control, survival, and increasing your damage output effectively. 48. Standing still in a firefight is a quick way to get downed. Constant movement, sprinting, sliding, rolling makes you a much harder target. Relocating after a few shots forces enemy teams to reacquire you, break their angles, and disrupts their coordination. Retreat and take a defensive angle, forcing them to come to you. Mix movement patterns, use cover, and keep rotating positions to stay unpredictable and survive longer in both PvE and PvP. 49. Knowing when to fight and when to fall back is a critical survival skill. Not every encounter is winnable, especially when outnumbered or low on health. New players often commit to unnecessary fights which can cost loot and progress. By recognizing when a battle isn't in your favor and retreating to cover or a safer extraction route, you preserve your gear and life. 50. When you're running with a squad, positioning is everything. Before taking on bigger threats, make sure everyone knows the area you're going to use and have a clear plan. Randomly attacking the large arc will get you killed. Good positioning lets you protect each other, focus damage on weak points, and control the fight instead of reacting to it. 51. Always fight smart using line of sight. Peek from cover, break vision behind walls, and minimize how much of your body you expose at any time. Because the game is third person, you can scout angles and track enemy movement from behind cover without fully stepping out, and that's a huge advantage if you use it properly. Standing in open ground gets you punished fast, so force enemies to push into bad positions instead. When you control what the enemy can and can't see, you control the fight and dictate the pace, even against stronger squads. 52. Doors are one of the most underrated survival tools you have. Closing doors can completely stop or slow arc units, giving you crucial breathing space to heal, reload, or reset a fight. Doors also block line of sight, making it harder for both arc and players to pressure you at the same time. Smart door control turns chaotic encounters into manageable ones, and can be the difference between extracting and getting overwhelmed. 53. Suppressive Fire isn't about getting kills, it's about controlling space. Continuous accurate fire forces enemy to stay in cover, slows their pushes, and limits their movement options. This is especially effective when teammates are repositioning, healing, or flanking. Even arc units react to sustained pressure, giving you windows to move or disengage. Used properly, Suppressive Fire turns chaotic fights into controlled ones, letting your squad dictate where and when the enemy can move instead of reacting under pressure. 54. Choosing the right weapon for each situation is essential. Close quarters fights benefit from shotguns or SMGs, while long-range engagements favour rifles or scoped weapons. Personally, I like to use the Pharaoh for arc and long range, and use a shotgun for PvP. Understanding the strengths and limitations of each weapon allows you to approach battles strategically, exploit distance, and maximise damage. Smart weapon selection improves both survival and overall raid efficiency. 55. Melee weapons aren't just for style. They're a quiet, ammo-saving way to deal with smaller arc units like the ticks. Instead of wasting bullets and giving away your position, you can sneak up and take them out cleanly. It keeps engagements silent, conserves valuable ammo for the bigger fights, and stops you from drawing unwanted attention. Learning when to switch to melee versus shooting is a key part of surviving and moving efficiently through contested zones. 56. One of the fastest ways to die is engaging players while arc units are still active nearby. If machines are pressuring you, disengage or reposition before taking a PvP fight. Arc damage drains resources, creates noise, and forces bad movement. Smart survival means separating threats, deal with the AI first or move the fight away from them. Controlling when and where combat happens keeps you alive. 57. Arc Raiders maps are full of environmental hazards like sniper sentinel arcs, cameras, mounted turrets. Use them to your advantage. Lure enemies near them or shoot them to make them alert. Sometimes leaving them undamaged is a way to know if somebody is close to you. Knowing where hazards are and incorporating them into combat lets you deal damage effectively, control enemy movement, and create safer zones for looting or rotating. 58. Managing your ammo efficiently is crucial. Don't just hold down the trigger. Burst fire in your weapons improves accuracy, keeping your shots on target, and prevents you from running dry mid-fight. Every bullet counts, especially against high-value arc units or enemy players. Learning when to pace your shots versus going full auto can make the difference between winning an engagement or getting taken out. Think of it as precision over panic. Your ammo lasts longer and your effectiveness in combat stays high. 59. Once a fight ends, don't stay in the same area. Rotate immediately to avoid third-party squads or patrol drones that might move in. New players often linger, looting or celebrating kills only to get caught by other players. Strategic rotation keeps you unpredictable, maintains momentum, and gives you safer positioning for the next engagement. Treat every engagement as a temporary advantage, not a permanent stronghold. Mobility equals survival. 60. Targeting weak spots is key to taking down enemies efficiently. Aim for drone motors to disable them quickly and go for headshots on enemy players. For Bastion and Bombardiers, hitting the knees or the back of the head deals maximum damage and can stagger them, giving you a huge advantage. Knowing these weak points lets you conserve ammo, take down threats faster, and stay one step ahead in every engagement. 61. Plumes of smoke in the distance show you downed arc. They signal loot containers, and while breaching them makes a loud noise that can attract attention, the payoff is usually worth it. Approach carefully, grab the valuable gear quickly, and use cover or timing to avoid being an easy target. Learning to spot these smoke signals early gives you a big advantage on your first few raids. 62. When you see a blue beam firing across the map, that's a surveyor arc. Pay close attention when it opens up to fire. That moment exposes its core, which is its main weak spot. Hitting the core while it's charging or firing deals massive damage and can end the fight much faster. If you just spray it while it's closed, you'll waste ammo and time. Wait for the beam, hit the core, and take it down effectively. 63. Don't ignore already looted boxes. They still give XP, and in Arc Raiders every bit of experience counts. Checking them can level you up faster than you think, and sometimes players leave behind items you wouldn't expect. It's a sneaky way to stay ahead, earn rewards, and keep your progression moving without taking extra risks. Never underestimate the power of a box somebody has already opened. 64. Most loot in Arc Raiders spawns randomly, but some items have consistent spawn points. Mushrooms, certain plants, and even downed Arc units often appear in the same spots. Learning these patterns can save you a huge amount of time when upgrading workbenches or crafting essential gear. Knowing where the reliable loot is lets you plan efficient routes, stock up faster, and get the upgrade you need without wandering aimlessly around the map. 65. Even items marked as to be sold can be valuable. Trinkets like cat beds, light bulbs, and other seemingly random objects might be required for crafting or upgrades. Don't dismiss them automatically. Picking up these items while looting ensures you won't waste time later hunting for rare components, and it keeps your upgrade paths flowing smoothly. 66. Weapon attachments are not one and done. You can remove and reuse them across different guns, so don't waste them on a single setup. Swapping attachments smartly lets you adapt to any loadout or situation, making your arsenal far more flexible without burning through valuable resources. 67. Always keep an eye on item durability. As a rule of thumb, anything above 50% is good to go, but if it dips below that, it's time to repair, sell, or recycle it. Ignoring durability can leave you in a tight spot mid-raid, so staying on top of it keeps your gear reliable and your runs smooth. 68. Always use your safe pocket, or as we like to call it, the prison pocket. Any rare materials, blueprints, or essential items you pick up should go in there immediately, so even if you bite the dust, they're safe. Just remember you can't stash weapons in there, but everything else is fair game. 69. Don't let unused or low-tier gear gather dust. Salvage it for materials instead. Arc Raiders lets you break down weapons, armor, attachments to reclaim valuable components like scrap metal circuits and crafting resources. This keeps your inventory light, gives you materials for upgrades, and ensures nothing goes to waste. Even items that seem unimportant at first can be turned into something critical later on. 70. Keep an eye out on your loadout weight. Being overburdened can be brutal. Heavy gear slows you down, drains stamina faster, and makes dodging it or escaping tricky. You can easily see if you're overweight by the red square icon above your stamina bar. Mobility isn't just comfort, it's survival. The lighter and smarter your load, the more control you have in every engagement. 71. You can keep track of everything right in game. Quests, tracked items, daily objectives, and trial events. There are a lot of items and objectives you need to manage, so being able to reference them directly while playing is incredibly handy. It helps keep you organized, avoid missing crucial loot, and makes planning your route and loadout much smoother. 72. If your inventory is full, dismantling items out in the field is a great way to optimize your loot. While you don't get as many materials dismantling during a raid compared to doing it back at base, it's still far better than leaving valuable items behind. Breaking gear down on the spot frees up space, lets you keep higher value loot, and makes your run stays efficient even when your backpack is packed. 73. Always try and leave 2 or 3 inventory slots empty. You never know when you'll stumble across high value loot, and the last thing you want to be doing is juggling your bag in an intense situation. Having free space lets you grab and go without stopping, keeps you focused on surroundings, and avoids unnecessary risk when things suddenly kick off. 74. Probes are more valuable than they first appear. Each probe has 3 separate parts you can loot, and it's easy to miss this and leave a lot behind. I did for quite a while. They are noisy to breach, so expect attention, but the rewards usually make it worth the risk. If you're committing to a probe, make sure to fully loot all 3 sections before moving on. 75. When you extract using a free loadout, you bring back a free loadout augment. Don't just sell it, take it to Lance, the medic and augment vendor in Speranza, and exchange it for a green tier augment like looting Mark 1, combat or tactical. This instantly upgrades your capabilities without spending coins or crafting materials. It's one of the most efficient ways to level up your loadouts and improve your survival rate. 76. Assorted seeds are small stackable items you'll find, and they're far more valuable than they look. You can trade seeds with Celeste in Speranza for crafting parts, consumables, and materials you might otherwise grind ages for. And her stock refreshes with useful items as you level. Seeds also sell for a tidy sum, but their real power is the flexible currency. They stack, weigh next to nothing, and solve missing component problems real fast. Pick up every seed you can and check Celeste daily. 77. Always track the materials required for workbench and Scrappy upgrades before you head out. In the upgrade menu, you can mark resources to track. When those items appear in the raid, the game adds a small icon, so you instantly know it's something you need. That little visual cue stops you selling or scrapping crucial parts by accident and lets you prioritize loot on the fly. Use tracking to focus your route, clear upgrade bottlenecks faster, and keep progression moving every time you return to base. 78. You can multi-select items when selling or recycling, and it saves a huge amount of time. I didn't realize this for ages and ended up selling items one by one, which is painfully slow. Selecting multiple items at once lets you clear your stash quickly, manage materials efficiently, and get back into raids faster. It's a small quality of life feature, but once you use it, you'll never go back. 79. When you check your stash in Speranza, you'll see the upgrade stash button at the top. It costs a fair amount of in-game money, but it's absolutely worth it. Each upgrade expands how much loot materials and blueprints you can carry, so you don't have to constantly sell or recycle items just to make space. This extra room is a lifesaver when collecting rare components or keeping items for future bench and Scrappy upgrades. Investing in your stash early makes your raids far smoother and gives you more freedom to focus on progression instead of inventory management. 80. Early on, it's tempting to craft every bit of gear you find, but resist the urge. Resources are limited, and spending them all on minor upgrades leaves you empty-handed for far bigger and more valuable items later on. Focus on essentials first, weapons you actually use, key attachments and core consumables. Save the rarer crafting materials for top-tier gear. 81. In Arc Raiders you'll find quests and story missions offered by various traders back in Speranza. These missions must be actively picked up before you can go into a raid, and once you complete their objectives in the field, you need to return and cash them in at the respective NPC to claim your rewards. Some quests unlock valuable materials, tools, blueprints, and trader perks, and completing them helps unlock further missions and progression. If you don't hand them in, you miss the reward entirely, so always check your quest log and return to base when you finish the objectives. 82. Extraction is the real objective. Everything you do in the raid only matters if you get out with your loot. Before you start looting, take a moment to plan 2 extraction routes. Your primary exit might get camped, blocked by drones, or contested by other players, so having a backup direction gives you flexibility when the situation changes. Planning multiple routes keeps you calm, reduces panic decisions, and drastically improves your chances of getting out alive on what you came for. 83. If your bag's full of valuable loot, don't convince yourself to squeeze in just one more room. Once your pack is full, that's your sign to extract. Staying longer just for the sake of it risks losing everything you've worked hard for, and in this game, one death wipes all of it. Leaving early with a full load means you bank progress, materials, and rewards instead of gambling them away. Discipline beats greed every time. 84. Emotes aren't just for fun, they're a subtle way to communicate in tense situations. A simple wave or thumbs up can show other players you're not a threat, helping avoid accidental firefights. While it won't stop everybody from shooting first, using emotes can make interactions smoother, prevent misunderstandings, and give you a small social edge when negotiating space or loot. 85. Clear communication is everything in a squad. Use pings to mark enemies, loot or objectives, and call out what you see in real time. Don't just mumble, give concise, useful info so your teammates know exactly what's going on. Teams that communicate effectively avoid ambushes, cover each other's flanks, and make smarter decisions under pressure. Even a few well-timed pings can make the difference between a clean extraction and getting wiped. 86. Before you rush to extraction, take 5 to 10 seconds to scout the surrounding area. Look for enemy silhouettes, turret drones, or loot-hungry squads camping the extract. Many raids die not from loot fights but from bad exit timing. If you spot movement or hear footsteps, hold off. Scouting first lets you choose the safest moment to extract, avoid ambushes, and carry out clean runs. It's a small habit with huge returns. 87. When the extraction begins, don't bunch together, spread out. If you all move as one clump, a single grenade, rocket, or turret can wipe the lot. Spreading means covering different angles, reducing splash damage risk, and making it harder for enemies to predict your movement. It improves your odds individually and as a team. Smart spacing during extraction often turns close calls into successful extractions. 88. Raider hatches are a lifesaver if you want to slip out without alerting anyone, players or ARC units. They let you exit quietly, avoiding firefights and keeping your loot safe. But there's a catch. You'll need the right key, and the hatch only stays open for about 15 seconds. A well-timed hatch can turn a tense situation into a smooth getaway. 89. When running with a squad, decide who does what early. For example, if everyone is using Pharaohs, you'll shred ARC units with ease, but you'll struggle against aggressive players. Assign someone to cover long-range threats, another to focus on revives, and someone to watch flanks. Clear roles prevent confusion, maximize efficiency, and keep your squad alive, because in ARC Raiders, chaos is a guaranteed death sentence. 90. If your squad is down and you're the last one standing, don't go for glory, go for extraction. Fighting solo means high risk and low reward. Instead, move quietly, avoid open areas, stick to cover, and take the most discreet path to safety. Let go of pride and focus on what matters, surviving with what you can salvage. A solo extraction beats a heroic death every time. In ARC Raiders, survival wins, not heroics. 91. When you're already in a fight and it's going south, sometimes the best play is to pull back. You can't win them all, so knowing when to just leave is key. Maybe you're outnumbered, low on health, or facing an ARC you just can't handle head on. Keep moving, use cover, and retreat strategically rather than going down and losing your loot. 92. Bandages aren't just for healing yourself, they're a lifesaver for teammates who have been downed. Applying a bandage to a down player extends the time they have before they bleed out, giving you a crucial window to revive them safely. In tense fights, this can mean the difference between losing a teammate and getting everyone out alive. Always keep some handy and use them strategically to keep your squad in the fight. 93. Shields in ARC Raiders don't act as a second health bar. They just reduce incoming damage and still let some damage through to your health every hit, even when the shield is full. That means if your health is low, having a shield won't save you from a one-shot down. Your health is what decides whether you live or die. So in a tight fight, healing your health first is usually the smarter play than topping up your shield once you're safer. 94. Reviving a teammate at the wrong moment is one of the quickest ways to lose a raid. Don't rush into revives just because someone is down. Clear threats, reposition, smoke the area, or draw attention away first. A safe revive is always better than a fast revive. Smart teams focus on survival, not speed. 95. The Defibrillator lets you revive any down player instantly, not just your teammates. This could be a lifesaver if you spot somebody outside your squad who could be useful, or if you want to manipulate the situation in your favour. But be careful, reviving the wrong person could backfire, as it might give an enemy a second chance. Use it wisely to control the battlefield and turn a down player into an advantage. 96. Before heading to extraction, make sure you've shared any items you're planning on sharing with your squad. Timing is key. Don't pass items around on the elevator or during the final moments, as that's when you're most exposed to enemy fire. Planning ahead and sharing early keeps your team prepared, reduces stress, and dramatically increases the chances of a successful extraction. 97. When it comes to the final stretch of extraction, sticking together is crucial. Don't all pile into the same spot, but move as a coordinated group. Spreading out just enough lets you cover multiple angles and react to threats, while staying close enough to support each other. Teams that stick together are far more likely to survive, fend off enemies, and make it out of all their hard-earned loot. 98. Sometimes the smartest extraction isn't the earliest one, it's the last one. Extraction points in Arc Raiders have timers and gradually close as the match goes on, funneling survivors towards fewer exits. By waiting until later in the raid, once most players have already left, you often face far less traffic and fewer extraction campers around the final exit. Patience can pay off. By moving slowly, rotating through safer zones and monitoring extraction timers, you reduce the risk of early game chaos and come out on the other side with your loot intact. Just be sure you always know where the nearest exit is. 99. When you're downed, your first priority isn't screaming for help, it's survival. Crawl into nearby cover so you're not in an open field and vulnerable. Once you're behind some protection, ping enemies so your team knows exactly where the threats are. That information lets them push, flank or suppress safely and increases the chances of a clean revive. Staying out of the open and communicating effectively gives your squad the best shot at bringing you back into the fight. 100. Even when you're downed, you're not completely out of the game. You can still interact with the extract button in the console, letting you secure loot or trigger extraction for your team. This can be a lifesaver if your squad is nearby and needs to get out quickly, or if you've got valuable items that would otherwise be lost. Remember, staying aware and making smart use of these options can turn a downed moment into a tactical advantage. 101. In this world, a smile can be deadly. Even players waving at you could be plotting for your downfall. Don't rely on anyone but yourself. One wrong move and it's all over. Keep your eyes open, your weapon ready, and remember, trusting the wrong person can cost you everything. When in doubt, shoot first. And that's my 101 tips for Arc Raiders. If this helped you extract more often, win more fights, or just survive runs you normally wouldn't, consider subscribing. There's a lot more coming. If I missed anything or you've got better tips, drop them in the comments. I genuinely read them all. This game rewards preparation, awareness, and knowing when to walk away. I'll see you in Speranza, if you make it out.